Look down at the field. 70,000 people are sitting around you right now, and every one of them is watching the same thing you are. A game, 4 quarters, 1 ball, and a scoreboard that will decide by the end of the night who won and who lost. That is the view from the stands. That is the seat you paid for. And it is a good seat, but it is the cheap one. Now look up, way up. Past the last row of the upper deck, past the lights, to the glass boxes that ring the very top of the stadium. Someone is sitting up there too. Same game, same ball, same scoreboard. But that person is not watching a game at all. That person is watching a company go to work. A company that just changed hands not long ago for just over $6 billion. The most anyone has ever paid for a sports team in North America. And here is the part that should stop you cold. The man who bought it, the man who wrote a $6 billion check, called it a bargain. You heard that right? A bargain. For the next 20 minutes, I am going to take you out of your seat and up into that box. And by the time you come back down, you are never going to watch a game the same way again. Because the fan and the owner are looking at the same field. They are just not seeing the same thing at all. A fan sees a team, an owner sees a media company that happens to keep score. So let us start with the obvious question. What does that owner actually own? Not the players. Players come and go. Not the coach. Coaches get fired. Not even the stadium in a lot of cases, because the public often paid for that. What the owner owns is something far stranger and far more valuable. A license, one of exactly 32 of them in the entire country. That is the whole trick, and almost nobody in the stands ever thinks about it. There are 32 NFL teams, not 33, not 40, 32. And the league has no intention of printing more. Think about what that scarcity does. There are more billionaires in the world than there are NFL teams. Many, many more. And every single one of them who loves football, who dreams of walking out onto that field as the man who owns it, is fighting over the same tiny handful of licenses. When there are thousands of buyers and only 32 things to buy, and the owners have quietly agreed never to make a 33rd, the price does not go up a little. It goes up forever. That is not an accident. That is the design. You are not buying a team. You are buying a permanent seat at the most exclusive table in all of business. And once you are seated, they lock the door behind you. That is why the average NFL team is now worth about $7 billion. Read the middle of that sentence again in your head. The average one. Every single team in the league, all 32 of them, the great ones and the terrible ones, the ones that win championships and the ones that have not won a playoff game in 20 years, every one of them is worth at least $5 billion. There is no such thing as a cheap NFL team. There's no such thing as a bad investment in this league. And to understand why a team that loses can be worth just as much as a team that wins, you have to stop reading the scoreboard and start reading the bill. Because here's the thing, the new owner learns first. On paper, a lot of these teams barely make money running the football operation. Some of them lose money on it. The salaries, the coaches, the travel, the medical staff, the stadium operations, the endless cost of putting a competitive team on the field every Sunday. Add all of that up, and the actual business of playing football can run at a loss. And a fan hears that and thinks, well, then it is a bad business. And the fan could not be more wrong, because the owner is not in the football business. The football is the bait. The football is the reason you show up, the reason you care, the reason you wear the colors and cry when they lose. The football is the magnet that pulls in the thing the owner is actually selling, and that thing is you. Your attention, live in real time, unskippable. So let me show you how the value is really built, layer by layer, the way the owner sees it. Picture a stack. At the very bottom of the stack is that license we just talked about, the scarcity. 32 seats locked forever. That is the foundation, and by itself it is already worth billions. But the owner does not stop there. On top of the license, you stack the media. This is the engine. This is where the real money lives, and it is the part fans understand the least. The NFL sells the right to broadcast its games to the television networks and the streaming companies. And a few years ago, the league signed a set of deals to carry those games worth altogether around $110 billion. Let that number sit for a second. $110 billion spread across about 11 years. That works out to a little more than $10 billion every single year flowing into the league before anyone has sold a single ticket, a single hot dog, a single jersey. And why do CBS and Fox and NBC and ESPN and Amazon fight each other and pay these staggering numbers? Because live sports is the last thing on earth that people still watch live. Think about how you consume everything else. You skip the ads, you wait for the whole season and binge it on a weekend. You pause, you rewind, you watch on your own schedule. Advertisers hate that because they are paying to talk to a room that has already left. But nobody records the game to watch on Tuesday. You watch it now, live, with millions of other people, all at the same moment, all seeing the same commercials. Live football is the only product left that guarantees a network a massive, real, right now audience. It is the last campfire. And the networks will pay almost anything to own the rights to sit in front of it, so media rights are the real season ticket. Except the whole country buys one at the same time every week. Now, here's where it gets genuinely beautiful if you are an owner. That $10 billion a year in national media money does not go to the teams that win. It does not go to the big markets or the popular franchises or the ones with the best record. The league takes that enormous pile of national money and it splits it almost evenly, 32 ways. That means every owner in every city wakes up at the start of the season with more than $300 million already wired into the account, guaranteed before kickoff. Whether their team is a dynasty or a disaster, sit with that for a moment because it changes everything. It means the worst team in the league gets the same enormous national media check as the best team in the league. It means you can own a team that loses every game it plays, that never makes the playoffs, that breaks its own fans' hearts year after year, and you will still collect one of the largest guaranteed revenue streams in American business. The owners built a system where they do not really compete with each other for money. They only compete on the field on Sunday for a trophy. Off the field, they share the pot. They agreed a long time ago to make each other rich. That is not a sports league. That is a cartel wearing a scoreboard. And on top of the license and the media and the shared money, the owner stacks one more layer, the real estate. Because the modern owner does not just own a team that plays in a stadium, increasingly, the owner controls the land. The parking, the district around the building, the hotels and restaurants and offices that a football team, playing 8 or 9 home dates a year, pulls into orbit. The team is the anchor that makes an entire neighborhood valuable, and the owner quietly captures a lot of that value too. We will spend whole videos later just on the building and the land. For today, just add it to the stack. License, media, shared money, real estate. 4 layers, each worth billions. And the game you paid to watch it is only the thing sitting on top. Now, no fortune is without its risk, and the owner knows exactly where the danger lives. The trap in this business is that almost all the costs are fixed and the disasters are sudden. The players must be paid whether 10,000 people show up or 80,000 do. And every so often, the machine can stop entirely. A labor fight, a lockout, a season that shrinks or does not happen at all. And suddenly, the campfire goes dark and the media money is in question. When the games stop, the whole thing shakes. We will look in another video at exactly how much a frozen season can cost and who blinks first. But even knowing the trap, the owners keep buying. Because the long climb has been so steep that the occasional stumble barely shows up on the chart, and nobody proves that better than the man everyone once thought had lost his mind. In 1989, a wildcat oil man from Arkansas walked in and bought the Dallas Cowboys. He paid about $140 million for the team and its stadium, at a time when the franchise was losing money and plenty of people thought he had overpaid for a fading brand. He fired the only coach the team had ever had. The city turned on him. The headlines called it a disaster. Today, that same team is worth around $13 billion. $13 billion. He put in $140 million and he built something worth roughly 93 times what he paid. Not 93% more, 93 times more. The man everyone laughed at made one of the greatest investments in the history of American business. And he made it by seeing, from the very beginning, what almost no one in the stands could see. He was never buying a football team. He was buying the license and the media and the attention before the rest of the world understood what those things were worth. So play it forward. What does a good year look like for an owner, and what does a bad one look like? In a good year, the team wins, the city is electric, the stadium is loud, the merchandise flies off the shelves, and the value climbs. In a bad year, the team loses, the fans are furious, the seats have empty patches, the local money softens. And here's the punchline that separates the box from the stands. In both years, the national media check clears exactly the same. In both years, the license is still one of only 32 on Earth. In both years, the franchise is worth more than the year before it. The owner feels the losing the way you do, in the gut on Sunday night. But the owner does not feel it in the fortune. That is the difference between the seat you paid for and the seat at the top. Your team can break your heart. It almost never breaks the owner's bank. So the next time you are in that stadium or on your couch and you are living and dying with every play, do this one thing for me. Look up. Look at the glass at the top of the stadium, because you and the owner are watching the very same game on the very same field, and only one of you is watching a game at all. The other one is watching a company that will be worth more tomorrow than it is tonight, no matter what that scoreboard says. You came in through the stands. The owner came in through the box. If you want to keep seeing the field the way the owner sees it every single week, you already know where the box is.